She held my hand at my mother's funeral. She wiped my tears. She told me I was going to be okay. But 3 days later, while I was still wearing black, I opened Instagram and saw her in a wedding dress, standing next to the man I was supposed to marry. On the exact day we were supposed to say our vows, my best friend had married my ex, and not a single person had warned me. Stay with me, because this story is going to shake something deep inside you. Before we go any further, if you are new here, welcome to Helen's Cultural Stories, where every week we bring you the real, raw, and resilient stories of African women. If this story moves you, please hit the like button right now, drop a comment below telling me what you think, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a story like this one. Now, let us begin. Adaeze Dlamini was the kind of woman who made you believe love was still worth it. At 31, she stood tall, a secondary school history teacher in Johannesburg, with warm ochre skin, natural locks she had been growing since varsity, and a laugh that filled every room she walked into. She taught her students about African queens and warriors, but privately, she was fighting her own quiet battles, the kind that do not make headlines. She had met Kemi Ose 4 years ago at a cultural festival in Soweto. He was charming, educated, the son of a Ghanaian father and Zulu mother, a man who wore his heritage like a crown. He quoted Ngugi wa Thiong'o and cooked jollof rice from scratch. To Adaeze, he felt like destiny dressed in a dashiki. They fell in love the way lightning strikes, fast, bright, and impossible to ignore. By their second year together, Kemi had proposed under the jacaranda trees at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Adaeze said yes before he finished the sentence. Their family celebrated. Her best friend, Nomsa, cried happy tears and called it the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Nomsa, the name should make you smile, but by the end of this story, it will make your chest tighten. Because the woman standing in Adaeze's corner that day was already holding a secret that would destroy everything. The date was set, the venue booked, the family ropes chosen. Then COVID-19 arrived and swallowed the world whole. Adaeze and Kemi pushed the wedding back, first 6 months, then a year. It was painful, but they held on. They video called through lockdown, sent each other voice notes at midnight, and promised each other that the delay was just the universe making room for something more beautiful. And through all of it, Nomsa was there. She helped Adaeze redesign the centerpieces. She held her when she cried about the postponement. She was her maid of honor, her person, her sister since Form 2 at a boarding school in KwaZulu-Natal. But 3 weeks before the new wedding date, Kemi called. No video, no warning, just his voice, flat and distant, like he was reading from a script someone else had written. Ada, I can't do this anymore, I'm sorry. Adaeze stood in her kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, completely still. The kettle screamed behind her. She did not move to turn it off. Kemi, what do you mean? I've been thinking. I don't think I'm ready. He said nothing more, and he hung up. But here is what Adaeze did not know. Kemi had made another call before hers. To a number he had been dialing in secret for months. Adaeze tried everything. She called. She texted. She drove to his apartment in Soundtown and stood at his door for 40 minutes until his neighbor told her he had not been home in days. She wrote him a letter by hand, 4 pages on cream paper, and slid it under the door. No response. His brother, Taiwo, eventually answered one of her calls. He sounded uncomfortable. His words were careful, clipped. Ada, I think you should just let him go. Some things are not meant to be explained. It was not comfort. It was a warning dressed as advice. Adaeze sat with the wreckage of a 4-year relationship and a wedding that would never happen. She told Nomsa everything, and Nomsa listened, rubbed her back, handed her tissues, and said all the right things. He doesn't deserve you. You are going to be okay. I am not going anywhere. Every word a performance. Every hug a lie. What Adaeze did not know was that Nomsa had already seen Kemi that same week, not to confront him on her behalf, but to plan their future together. 2022 arrived heavy. Adaeze had barely stitched herself back from the heartbreak when life delivered another blow. Her mother, her mama, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in February. By July, she was gone. The funeral was held on a Friday in Durban. The women are related. The men carried the casket, and Adaeze stood at the graveside, dry-eyed and hollow, because some pain is too deep for tears. Nomsa was there, front row, holding Adaeze's hand. 3 days later, Adaeze was back in Johannesburg. She sat on her couch scrolling through condolence messages when a tagged post on Instagram stopped her cold. It was a wedding photo. A couple in traditional Zulu and Kent fusion attire, laughing, surrounded by flowers and family. The groom's face made her stomach drop. Kemi, and next to him, glowing in a white and gold gele, was a face Adaeze knew better than her own reflection. Nomsa. The caption read, "Married my forever on the most sacred day of our lives." The date on the post was Friday. The same Friday Adaeze buried her mother. The same date that was supposed to be her and Kemi's wedding anniversary. Adaeze's phone slipped from her hands, and something inside her, something that had been quietly surviving, finally broke. She did not scream. She did not cry. She just sat there, on the cold tiles of her bathroom floor, at 2 a.m., reading the post over and over like the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. When did this start? How long did they know? Was any of it real? The comments under the photo were full of celebration. Goals. Beautiful couple. God's timing. Not a single person knew what they were celebrating had been built on someone else's ruins. Adaeze called Taiwo, Kemi's brother, at 6 a.m. He answered on the first ring, like he had been expecting it. "I know why you're calling," he said quietly. "And I'm sorry, Ada. I wanted to tell you, but it wasn't my place." "Tell me everything, Taiwo. Please." There was a long silence. Then he exhaled. "Nomsa loved Kemi before you ever met him. She introduced you too, but she never stopped wanting him. When the engagement was announced, she couldn't handle it." Adaeze closed her eyes. "She told him you were cheating on him. She made up a name, a story, evidence she fabricated from your phone one night when you were sleeping." The room spun. The betrayal was not just personal, it was engineered, calculated, cold. Adaeze spent 3 days piecing it together. Nomsa had been strategic. She had not attacked loudly. She had moved quietly, whispering doubts into Kemi's ear over months. A screenshot here, a concerned conversation there. "I didn't want to say anything, but I think you deserve to know." And Kemi, brilliant, educated, Ngugi quoting Kemi, had believed every word without asking Adaeze a single question. That was the second betrayal. Not just that Nomsa had lied, but that Kemi had chosen to believe a lie over 4 years of love, without giving her even one chance to defend herself. Adaeze called Nomsa on a Tuesday morning. Nomsa picked up on the third ring, her voice measured, almost rehearsed. "Ada, I was going to call you. Were you?" Adaeze's voice was quiet, steady. "Or were you going to let me find out from Instagram?" Silence. "How long, Nomsa?" Another silence. "Then, I loved him first, Ada, before you. I just never said it. That doesn't give you the right to destroy my life." "I know, just 2 words. And somehow, they were the most devastating thing Nomsa could have said. Because I know meant she had always known. She had done it anyway." And in that moment, Adaeze understood. Some people do not betray you out of weakness. They betray you out of choice. Adaeze drove to Nomsa's new house in Midrand on a Wednesday. She did not go to fight. She went to close a door. Nomsa opened it looking like guilt dressed in silk. Beautiful, uncomfortable, holding a mug of rooibos tea like a prop. "You could have just told me you had feelings for him," Adaeze said, standing in the doorway. "I would have stepped back. I would have been hurt, but I would have understood. We were sisters." Nomsa looked down. "Instead, you chose to lie. You chose to let me plan a wedding. You sat in my house, held my hand at my mother's funeral, and the entire time you were already his wife. Ada, I'm not here for an explanation. I'm here to tell you that I see you clearly now, and I'm done." She turned and walked back to her car. She did not cry until she got to the N1 highway, and then she cried until she could not see the road. But somewhere inside that grief, something new was being born. Something that looked a lot like clarity. Adaeze returns home and strips the flat of everything that reminds her of both of them. She donates Kemi's gifted jewelry. She deletes 5 years of photos. Each act is grief, and also liberation. She finds a letter her mother wrote her years ago, never sent. It says, "Baby, if a man leaves without a reason, the reason is always someone else. Trust your life." Her aunt in Durban, her colleagues under a grief support circle at a church in Braamfontein, the African village of women who catch you when you fall. At 11:47 p.m., she opens Kemi's contact. Her thumb hovers. She puts the phone down, goes to sleep, wakes up lighter. She registers for a postgraduate diploma in educational leadership at Wits University. The first class is on a Monday. She sits in the front row. A student tells a terrible joke in class. Adaeze laughs, really laughs, for the first time in months. She catches herself and realizes, I am still here. Kemi's brother sends her a message. He knows what Nomsa did. He asked me not to tell you he knows. I'm telling you anyway. She reads it twice and feels nothing. That is when she knows she is healing. She journals. She writes, Kemi showed me who he was when he chose doubt over devotion. I was going to marry a man who didn't trust me. The lie saved me from the bigger mistake. Morning runs. Journaling. A solo trip to the Drakensberg mountains where she hikes alone and cries at the top and feels, for the first time, entirely free. She quietly unfollows Nomsa, then blocks, then closes the app, then re-downloads it and posts her first content in months, a quote about women who rise. A man named Saifo in her postgrad cohort asks if she would like to study together. She says yes, cautiously. Nothing happens. But something in her, something that had shut down, quietly reopens. She builds an entire school lesson around African queens who were betrayed by those closest to them, Queen Zinga, Ya Asantewa. Her students are riveted. She realizes, her pain has something to teach. Nomsa posts a 1-year anniversary picture. Comments flood in. Adaeze sees it by accident. She closes the app in 4 seconds. Progress. Zandaya shows up unannounced with Omkosho and a box set of a telenovela. They eat on the floor. Adaeze understands now what friendship is supposed to feel like. In a dream, her mother appears, not speaking, just smiling. Adaeze wakes up knowing everything is going to be okay. She completes her postgrad diploma. Her aunt drives 6 hours to attend the ceremony. They take photos under the wheat arch. She feels like herself again, but a stronger version. Everyone wants to know, do you hate them? Her answer, I used to. Now I'm just grateful the truth came before the vows. Trust the people who tell you the truth even when it hurts. Fear the ones who are always perfectly kind. At a shopping center in Rosebank, he saw her first. She looked good, not for him, but for herself. He opened his mouth. She smiled politely, kept walking. Power. Through mutual friends, she hears that Nomsa and Kemi are going through things. She feels nothing. She does not share the news. She does not celebrate it. She is simply no longer part of that story. She submits an essay to a South African women's magazine about betrayal and healing. It is published. Strangers message her saying, this is my story too. She realizes she is not just surviving. She is serving. There is an old Zulu saying, Aisita Soko Sayakwazi, your enemy knows you. Adaeze spent a long time thinking Nomsa knew her best. But what she eventually understood was that Nomsa only knew her surface, her warmth, her trust, her willingness to believe the best in people. She never knew her depth, her resilience, the steel underneath the softness. Betrayal is a teacher with brutal methods. It showed Adaeze that Kemi, for all his brilliance, lacked the one thing a marriage needs most, the courage to come to her directly. A man who believed a lie without asking for her truth was not a man she could have built a life with. Not through illness, not through financial strain, not through the hard seasons that every marriage eventually faces. The delay of the wedding, which she had mourned, was actually mercy in disguise. She wrote in her journal, I didn't lose the love of my life, I lost the illusion of one. The real love of my life is still coming, and I am ready. And for the first time in years, she actually believed it. Adaeze Dlamini did not become hard. That is the thing about women who survive great betrayal, the ones who do it with grace. They do not become walls. They become wiser doors, more selective about who they let in, more certain of their own worth. She still teaches history at her Johannesburg school. She still wears her locks long. She still laughs in a way that fills rooms. But now, when her students ask her what the most important lesson history teaches us, she does not just talk about wars and kings. She says, history teaches us that the people who tried to bury certain women only helped plant them deeper. She thinks of her mother when she says it. She thinks of herself. And somewhere, in the quiet dignity of a woman who chose healing over hatred, Africa tells a story that has always been true. You cannot keep down a woman who has learned to rise. And that is where Adaeze's story ends, not in bitterness, not in revenge, but in something far more powerful. In peace, in purpose, in the quiet confidence of a woman who lost everything and rebuilt herself into something no one could ever take away. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you know or a season you have lived through, do not keep it to yourself. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it today. And before you go, Click on the video appearing on your screen right now, because the next story is just as powerful, and I promise you, you are not going to want to miss it. Thank you for watching Helen's Cultural Stories. I will see you in the next one.